Welcome to Business Spotlight. I'm Rob Andrew, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Stuart Hollins from Paperweight Solutions. Hi, Stuart.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us today.
No problem. Happy to be on part of the call.
Excellent. So, Stuart, can you perhaps start by giving us a bit of your background, a bit of your story, and tell us a little bit about Paperweight Solutions?
So, Paperweight Solutions is a mortgage and protection brokerage. We're part of a much larger network called the Open Work Partnership, which has around 4,500 mortgage advisors as part of their network.
Okay.
And I'm an appointed representative that leverages the Open Work strength. And the business has been set up for about a year now.
About a year, okay. And prior to that, Stuart, what was your background?
So quite a diverse background, actually. So around 20 years or so, 25 years or so, wow. I worked in corporate world. So my first main job was in the Croydon area, working in wealth management.
Okay.
So pensions and investments.
Yep.
And so for the first 10 years of my life, I was actually a financial planner and quite well versed in the investment markets.
Yep.
And worked with the private banking customers.
Okay.
When I moved up to the city in London.
Yes.
And then the credit crunch hit 2008, 2009, and left the industry, and then joined the energy industry.
Oh, wow, that's a change.
Which was quite a change, really. So, well, back in the day, I did a geology degree, and geology seemed to quite nicely fit the company that I joined in energy because they were dealing with oil and gas exploration companies.
Okay.
So very much geological, subsurface related. So that business was very interesting, and I rode that wave for around 10 years or so. And they basically sold data, information, insights, consulting, and software.
Yep.
To oil and gas exploration companies, which also spread out to renewable companies and service companies, and everyone related to the energy industry, getting the starting product to the end users, such as you and me, to drive our cars and use our computers. So,
oh, wow, interesting.
It's a very interesting subject matter, and yeah, some really interesting businesses out there.
Excellent. That's really interesting. Very different then. So you said you've been open for a year, Stuart. Can you tell me a little bit about your journey then to date? What have you gone through? What are the challenges? What perhaps has surprised you, and what's your biggest learning maybe from the journey?
Yeah, indeed. So, well, towards the end of the corporate career, we really had a very cyclical market in energy, and as a sales professional as I was, you have to have very dramatic ups and downs in earnings. So my theory was to set up a business that in time would generate consistent revenues that I could predict each year and forecast and generate my own pipeline.
Okay.
So the early challenges really, from a business perspective, is developing a consistent pipeline, particularly as you're a new joiner. And if it is just you as a start, you have your website and you have your phone, but getting your name out there to the right type of customer at the right time in, say, their mortgage or house purchasing journey can be quite challenging. So it's a lot of networking, it's a lot of understanding potentially social media.
Yep.
And I think having faith in what you're doing, that in time it will work and your network will begin to spread. And certainly I think a reflection of that is being realistic about what can be achieved as well.
So being realistic, so maybe give me a bit of an example from when you started to perhaps how you're thinking now.
Yeah, so as we started, let's use a website as a starting point. So we set up a website, but there's so much more to it than that. You look to try and drive traffic to your website, but unless you do the correct, let's say, due diligence research associated with the website, it will just be a standalone tool that no one will really visit unless you're able to direct people to it. So how do you direct people to your website to drive that traffic? And certainly in mortgage world, it's someone will have an interest in a mortgage, and therefore they will search for it. If they don't require a mortgage, there's no real need for them to just generally research mortgages. So you're trying to have that balance between a pull, pulling in to you and your brand, and a push to say, we're here if you need us when the time's right. So certainly website presence, digitalization leads is a real challenge to learn and get to grips with, and then be confident that the path you're adopting in time will benefit you.
Okay, understood. So so lots of learnings then, basically, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, certainly learnings, and networking and talking to people as much as you can. Looking for either mentoring figures or people that have been in the same boat, to get a gauge as to how you're getting on and whether you're on the right lines.
Okay, understood. And Stuart, what do you think what does the future look like for you in the business, and perhaps what do you foresee will be the challenges as you go forward?
Well, certainly in my world, the challenges is linking to base rates and inflation. I mean, that's the real key story for us that affects probably all of us that either have a mortgage or are looking to move or are homeowners.
Absolutely.
The inflation story has a knock-on effect to everything, of course, that we buy, which has a knock-on effect to mortgage rates, not just on your own residential mortgage, but also to buy-to-let rates. And then those buy-to-let landlords then cascade those increasing costs onto the tenants.
Yep.
So base rate inflation is really key to try and understand, forecast where we think it may well go, and also talk to customers and explain what is happening, why it's happening, and to manage their journey in either remortgaging or purchasing a house.
Okay.
Affordability is a big issue.
And so your advice is to come and speak to you then. You would, I mean, that's obvious, but right now with the uncertainty, that's what you would be advocating.
Well, I would say that in a way, this is the age of a broker, someone that is, an independent voice, an independent party to research the market and do some research on behalf of that potential customer. In the past, when interest rates have been so low as they were after the credit crunch, if you're looking at rates of, let's say, a 1.5%, 1% or so that they were for so long, many people just went to their existing bank because it was negligible between one bank and another. I just, my bank, they know me. But now when interest rates 5.25% and mortgage rates are in excess of 6%, then you really need to shop around to find out who is the best deal out there and who's going to meet my needs for now and for the future. That percentage basis point here or there on a large mortgage can make quite a big difference.
Absolutely. And that's where we need the expertise. Absolutely. What would you say, Stuart, are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
Misconceptions. Well, maybe linking through, the misconception really is the accountability aspect is a key one for me. Just trying to link that back through to that specific question around misconception, because I think maybe when you leave corporate world is very much you're in the narrow channel.
Yes.
And your management or your role dictates this is where you can go. And if you need some help, there's somebody over here that can help you. But maybe a misconception with regards to setting your own businesses up is you can go here, you can go there, you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Your channel is as wide as you want it to be. And that accountability factor, keeping you on your straight and narrow on that path, comes back to a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And comes back to agreeing what that strategy needs to look like and faith in that strategy and give it time. And I think a certain amount of entrepreneurialism is to continue with your line of sight and deliver. And if you're accountable to yourself, you're just accountable to yourself. But if you achieve what you set out to do, then a pat on the back for achieving it because there are so many distractions.
Absolutely. So your advice is very much, and what you think is something you've learned is that staying focused, but you need the discipline to stay focused when you're out there on your own.
You do, yeah. And I've read an interesting article the other day about home workers
Mm-hmm.
and the distractions of being at home. And it doesn't matter whether you're in corporate world or self-employment world, there are distractions at home,
Yeah.
and it is difficult to set your sights on that target for that day, having those daily tasks or that monthly task to achieve, and delivering on it.
Yeah. No, fully understand. Stuart, is there someone out there at the moment, or has there been recently that inspires you?
Well, in mortgage world, there was a gentleman that I recently spoke to who had set up his business just 18 months or so ago.
Okay.
And interestingly, he had come from the mortgage world, always worked in mortgages. And it took him a while to get off the ground. And even though he'd worked at another practice and was in, let's say, corporate world for there, he found quite a lot of challenges himself in developing a business, being on his own. But through time, through persistence, through doing the right things, which I relate to social media, to the website, networking as much as best he can, a year to 18 months down the line, he's got quite a well-established business and he's hiring staff. So that's great confidence for me to show that what I'm doing, will pay off. And the path, and when I reflect on each month that passes, I've hit those goals and I'm progressing the business on.
Excellent. That's good news. Stuart, in terms of books or podcasts, what have you read or listened to recently that you've really had a positive impact on you?
Well, in our personal life, there's been a lot of talk about ADHD. I don't believe I have ADHD, but we're quite sure that my wife has. So it's been quite interesting understanding how a neurodiverse individual thinks about their working day practices. So being sympathetic in a way to how they approach task.
Yeah.
And a lot of the social media and even through LinkedIn is talking about neurodiversity and getting the most out of a job or that individual and utilizing their skill sets, because they're extremely highly skilled and knowledgeable about their subjects. But it might take them a little while to or need a bit of assistance with planning and understanding the structure of their day. So certainly in our family, understanding how a neurodiverse individual thinks and applying that to their working practices has really benefited our general relationship in the home and our working lives as well. So any of those sort of ADHD related podcasts, there's probably a little bit of ADHD in all of us, to be honest, getting very easily distracted with phones and various things lying around. But it comes back to that goal setting, that planning, the strategizing and working out when is the best time for you to work that matches your day and structuring your day so you get the most amount of benefit.
So understanding yourself is absolutely crucial.
Understanding yourself, getting the most from yourself. I've been watching Jim Rohn, actually, we were talking about recently, from like the 60s or 70s, but he talked a lot of sense, and he was probably the forefather of many of these motivational speakers. So a lot of great stories there from him.
Absolutely, very inspiring man. Stuart, if you were to give some advice to your younger self, going back perhaps before you went into the corporate world, what would it be?
Really don't overthink things too much. I read something a little while ago where there was an interesting study by Dr. Richard Wiseman that looked at people who thought they were lucky compared to people who thought they were unlucky.
Okay.
And there was a study where essentially the unlucky people, it was determined, overthought what the next step really should be and didn't try to execute their belief full-heartedly, so might not have delivered what they were expecting, so they felt that they were unlucky. And the lucky group were willing to give anything a go and tried lots of different things, but the overall perspective was that they were lucky because they tried lots of things, and through that journey along the way they felt they were lucky, so they had an upbeat view to life. So I found that really fascinating. So I would tell myself not to overthink things, give anything a go, have a diverse career, diverse life, and try and learn as much as you can.
And be positive. So the younger Stuart was a big thinker. Is that what I take away from?
It is. Well, you are what you are. So there's an element of trying to reflect back and think, don't overthink these things too much. Just go for it.
That's great. Stuart, then on then to the last question. Is there anything in the business at the moment that any events or anything you'd like to announce at the moment?
Well, the headline for our business is that we're a fee-free mortgage broker. So our thoughts were, as the cost of living is very high and interest rates are rapidly increasing, we want people to openly have a conversation with a broker and understand the merits of using the broker rather than trying to do either a mortgage or a remortgage themselves with their existing bank.
Okay.
So explore options, speak to a broker. It doesn't cost us a fee. It doesn't cost the individual a fee, sorry. So we'd much rather just have an open conversation and try and make things as simple as possible, and explain thoroughly what the full process is and what the next steps will be.
Excellent. And for people, for viewers to be able to contact you, how best?
Yeah, so the website is www.paperweightsolutions.com. We're on the social media channels, LinkedIn and Instagram. I provide various updates on what's happening in inflation and Bank of England interest rate world on Instagram with little short videos of myself.
Oh, superb.
And obviously email and telephone as well.
Excellent. Well, Stuart, thank you very much indeed for sharing your insights and your journey. Extremely interesting, and I wish you all the best as you go forward. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. See you soon. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.